Hey, I'm an actor.
Hey, I'm an actor too.
We should talk about our feelings and when we're feeling blue, 'cause this industry is hard and the road is long ahead. In this corner of the internet, let's sit and chat instead.
Good day everyone and welcome to another episode of
Live on the Stage.
I'm joined by Hamish Nelson.
I'm joined by Hayden Rees. It's great to be back.
It is good to be back for another episode, our season 1 finale.
Oh, and for once it's great to escape from Zoom.
I mean, but it was cool being on the internet.
Yes, absolutely.
But today we have a very special guest with us today, don't we?
Who do we have?
It is the one and only Georgia McAleer.
Oh my god!
I was fangirling just watching that intro. I was like, oh my god, who's the guest going to be?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's me.
But thanks for coming on. We really do appreciate your
Thanks for
time.
having me, guys.
Yeah.
Could you tell us about where your love of performing first began?
Oh god, it had to be, I think, when I was really young, like talking kindergarten age, I used to be obsessed with just like singing out loud, singing opera. My specialty for some reason was the national anthem. At like a drop of a hat, I'd be like, alright, who wants a solo? No, it's like no one else, but I'm like, I'm ready. But so I think I really started falling in love with performing super young, and then growing up, my dad would always take me to pantomimes at our local theatre, and it was just magic, like meeting the cast afterwards and meeting like the girl who played like Alice in Alice in Wonderland. I was like, I'm gonna be just like you one day, and I was just obsessed with it. And then all throughout primary school, got really into music, really into performing. Was like waiting till the grade 6 production, and I was like, I really, really, really want to lead a role, and I got one, and I was just stoked. And then same thing leading into high school, just always really pining for those yearly musicals and productions and plays, and wanting to be performing arts prefect, and wanting to just do anything and everything that I could in the arts. I just, oh my god, I was obsessed.
Yeah.
I still am. So I think that's where it all started from, I reckon.
Yeah, did you have any people, like artists who inspired you? Like I remember when we studied at the Arts Academy, I know one of the big shows that you were a massive fan of and still are today is Wicked.
Oh, huge! I love Wicked. Wicked, I think it was always that show. I think it was like one of the first big shows I saw in Melbourne. Like we were around like that super young age, you know, around that like 8 or 9 years old when it was first here with like Gemma Ricks and Lucy Durack, and I saw Glinda come down in the bubble and my eyes just like sparkled. I was like, oh my god, and I've always been such a Glinda versus an Elphaba. So I just fell in love with that show, and then when I was in year 12 I got the opportunity to play Glinda, and I just, oh my god, I soaked it in. I just loved it. It was so much fun. Got to really, like, I researched all the different roles, like the Chicago production was a big one I was a fan of. Ali Morsey's Glinda. I just loved watching her performance and going, what's something that her performance inspires me to bring to my Glinda? And I mean, it almost feels silly to say because, you know, we're talking about high school theatre, but it really felt like Broadway at the time to like little like 17-year-old me. But yeah, so Wicked's a huge reason why I got into the Broadway musical theatre scene. It was just, every time you listen to the soundtrack, it just, oh god, it feels like magic every time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So was Wicked like the first high school musical that you ever did, or was
I think it was my last one. It was my year 12 show. So my first, I can give you a list right this very second.
Because I was just going to ask you what was
Yeah.
your first one, and what was it like being able to perform in an audience for the first time?
I think my first one was, oh god, so my grade 6 first one, which was to like a theatre of, I want to say, maybe 450, I'd say 450, 500, and it was, oh god, it was a show called Blame It on the Boogie, which was, it was like an adaptation, oh god. I'm reliving my past dramatically. I was like an adaptation of Much Ado About Nothing.
Yeah.
Classic. But with only like Michael Jackson music.
Wow.
And then it was also somehow set in the 70s with like gangsters and flower power, lots of flares, lots of feathers. It was, oh my god, it was mental. And I don't even remember, I just remember seeing photos and I looked like I was like in the Cruise. For some reason I was dressed like a cableman. No reason why, no context at all.
About Emma Stone.
I know, I'll call her, I'll sort it out.
I want to
But,
see this production.
Yes, so do I.
this is going like in my blackmail folder, like deep deep down, it's yeah, absolutely. It's pretty cursed, I can imagine. But yeah, I think that was the first thing that I was like, wow. I think I did like a solo of what's that song like? She's Out of My Life, I think is the song that I did, and I was singing that on stage by myself, and I was like, wow, this is really what it feels like, and I fell in love with it. So.
Yeah. And we studied at the Arts Academy together.
Yeah.
We were in company 2022.
Mm-hmm.
What are your favourite memories about studying that course? And one of the big things that really inspired me about you it was your determination, because you did go through a lot during the Arts Academy, and I think the thing that particularly inspired our company was just your strength and determination. And I was just wondering if you could explain to our listeners about that journey.
Yeah, wow. Well, oh my God, where to start? I think, well, to answer the first part, I'd say a big thing that I loved about the Arts Academy is obviously the connections you make with people, but also falling in love with people's journeys. I think when you get to, and I'm sure as you both can recall being in like the final part of third year, you kind of look back at yourself in first year, and you also look back at the people around you in first year, and you go, oh my God, we've just come so far, but like all together. Like someone where they might have felt too nervous to get up and do a monologue is now doing like a 3-minute long monologue in front of everybody, or somebody who didn't have confidence in their voice is suddenly hitting high C's and getting confident in their belting, and it's really so awesome to look back on and be like, wow, so much has happened in what feels like such a short amount of time, because it really just goes by in like the blink of an eye. So I loved that portion of it, I would say. And then obviously I had a good old time in the end of second year and third year dislocating my knee. Oh, drama queen.
And break a leg, literally.
And I said, note taken, and I will do that. So I did it not once but twice. I did the reboot. And it was a bummer not being able to do dance classes, obviously with our group. But luckily, getting to finish the year and doing the showcase dance was just like my tiny little comeback moment. I was like, I promise I can dance, I can do it. Which was really, I think, such an awesome way to just like tie the whole year in a bow. And then getting to come back the year after and do dancing with Hamish. I feel like such a lucky girl getting to kind of do university with both of you a little bit. So it was really good, and everyone in the second year level that I became a part of was just so lovely and welcoming, because like obviously it feels like you're going back to a place that you know really well and you love a lot, but with so many different people and without those people that bring you like immediate comfort. So everyone was really warm and welcoming, and that was so nice to be a part of 2 like year levels. I was so lucky. So I think working back from that injury has been a huge thing, and even now I'm in talks for getting surgery done so that I can get back into professional dancing and things like that. So steps are being taken, which makes me feel like I'm releasing a movie. I'm like, just you guys wait, but yeah, pumped. I think it was a big hill to climb over, but I'm definitely glad to be coming down the other side of the mountain now.
Yeah. And during your time at the Arts Academy, one of the shows that you worked on was a Sondheim classic, Into the Woods, where you took on a role made famously by Imelda Staunton, Stephanie J. Block, Emily Blunt, the baker's wife. I know a lot of artists normally have like inspirations for portrayals. Did you have any for that particular role, and what was it like being able to work on Sondheim, like especially after he had just not long passed away? Like, did you truly feel that?
Timing was crazy, I think, in the fact that, obviously Sondheim's passing as well as that revival on Broadway at the time, I think it was almost kind of a little bit of like fate at that time. I was a huge fan of Stephanie Block, always been a huge fan of Stephanie Block, especially her acting through song is a huge thing. I think a really big challenge for me in that role was unpacking what it truly meant to act through song and to find those nitty-gritty differences and those little those objectives, those super objectives, but just kind of stripping things back. I think being a singer first, I always felt that inclination to be like, well, how does it sound? And how, is it sounding good? How's my voice sounding? That kind of thing. But I think stripping it all back and coming back to the question of how does it feel, rather than how does it sound, was a big game changer. And Trevor Jones, the star that Trevor Jones is, was such a big help, especially in a lot of the Baker's Wives songs. Is it this or that? Is it A or B? Really struggling with that back and forth of the life she has and the life she always kind of dreamed that she wanted. And then the reality of both of those options was, really almost a very human story to tell at the end of it. I think it's easy to get caught up in the fantasy and the fairy tale of it all, and being set in the woods and being set with these like fairy tale characters, but in the end everybody is just, we're flawed, we're human, we made mistakes. It's it was a beautiful story, one of my favourite shows, so I felt so lucky to be there in that time with that cast, in that production. It was, it felt very special. Yeah,
and that message is still timely today, as you were saying, and I really like the way you put that even fairy tale characters can be complex, can be human. How can we break the mold a little bit? And even the message of like being careful what we wish for and sometimes how they have consequences.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and after graduating, so like some of the many shows that you got to work on was Broadway Unplugged. Could you explain to our audience what that's about and what were some of the most exciting things that you took from it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Broadway Unplugged was a charity show that we would do every 2 months in the year of 2023, and I think it ran for another year and is sadly on a bit of a hiatus at the moment, but it was just such an amazing opportunity, especially to jump into that right out of uni. It was a great, networking opportunity, getting to meet all these up-and-comers and all these people who had established careers in the arts. Every couple of months was just so awesome, and getting to like have these conversations with people and really picking their brains about roles they've done or what's going on in the industry at the moment. That was really such an opportunity that I'll be really grateful for, as well as working with like Bradley Dillon and working with Daniele and working with the great team at BU, which is the kind of company that ran Broadway Unplugged. They were always so artist first, and they really prioritized how the artists were feeling and really prioritized making it work for us. And they were always just fighting for performers to have just a fair opportunity and a fair go in an industry that can feel really this or that at the moment. So that was always such an awesome thing. They really cared about diversity and an equal opportunity for everybody. And so that being my first kind of introduction into the industry was really, I was very lucky to have that.
Absolutely.
And I think, as you mentioned, like even like just supporting local Australian artists at the moment, like we see in shows a lot that we always import someone from America or somewhere, and I was just wondering how important is it to support like Australian artists and to give these artists like the opportunities?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's so easy to associate like musical theatre with those, those golden age kind of Broadway shows or those kind of composers and artists and that kind of style. But we have a look at up-and-comers in Australia. Like one of my favourites at the moment is Mel and Sam. They do amazing comedy, musical theatre. I'm obsessed with their podcast as well. And they are just bringing this raw and new style of musical theatre that's really queer friendly. It's super female empowering, and I feel like the more opportunities we give to Australian creators, the more progression we're going to see through the creation in our landscape in Australia. So something like Homegrown is my favourite. I've been to a couple of Homegrowns, and every time I leave that theatre, I leave chapel off chapel, and I walk out and I'm like, I have to write a show right now. Like I feel so inspired. I'm like, someone give me a pen. Oh my God. It's that sense of watching what other people can create on the Australian landscape and saying, wow, I guess all it really takes is just coming together and workshopping with people, collaboration, or really sitting down and letting the pen flow, or letting the fingers write on the keys and see what you can come up with, and that it is possible to create something just so authentic and awesome and relevant to our culture as well. Like back to Mel and Sam, they did a comedy festival musical piece called No Hat No Play, and it was very reminiscent of those like grade 6 primary school feelings and those events, and it just rang so true to every member of that audience, and you could just tell that was something that we could all really connect to. It's experiences we've all kind of had in one way or another, and so I think more Australian stories need to be told. 100%, 1,000%.
Yeah, and I think like another incredible thing was like a couple of weeks ago seeing the picture of Dorian Gray and Sarah Snook winning the Tony Award.
Yes.
And felt like that was a big moment for Australians in the arts.
Absolutely, and I think I saw it when he was here in I want to say Art Centre.
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah, I saw when it was done there. It was just, it's such an amazing piece, and I think Australians are really having our like comeback moment. I think, and which is so awesome because there's so many amazing performers and creatives coming from Australian soil. I was just raving before about Matthew Lee Robinson. I'm a big fan. Love the podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
Huge fan.
Hi, Matthew.
Yeah, shout out. But yeah, so I think the more creatives we can really showcase, the better. Honestly. So.
Absolutely. And one of the many shows that you got to work on, I think probably your first professional show that you worked on after leaving the Arts Academy was Searching for Betty.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about what your role was in that show, what the show was about, and what it was like being able to work on a professional show, especially in Fringe Festival as it was on that time?
Yeah, and you know what? It was so wacky because after graduating, I was doing Broadway Unplugged, which is where I met the creator of that show and the director, Kiana, and we just clicked immediately, very like kindred spirit kind of thing. And yeah, I think that I almost pumped the brakes on auditioning, and I really just wanted to enjoy where I was. I was full-time teaching as well at the time. I was working at a high school in Southeast, and I was doing a traineeship there. Really, secondary teaching was always a big goal of mine, so I really thought, oh, you know what, I'll do this for the year and really get some experience and just pump the brakes on auditioning. And Kiana reached out to me and was actually like, hey, I'd really like you to be in this production, and I had you in mind, and I'd really love it if you could take this on for Fringe. And I went, absolutely, don't ask me twice. And it was a really personal piece to Kiana, really writing from her own experiences and her own dealings with friendship and heartbreak and that kind of thing. So it was really special to honestly have like the resource material like in a person, being like, hey, what actually happened behind this story, behind this scene here? Like, what's this actually from? And she would then go even deeper into detail and say, oh, this actually was this person and they did this right before this scene takes place in real life. And I was like, oh my God, it's really like, I was able to dive into her story head first, I guess, which is not often something that you kind of get in a script. So I was so lucky to be able to work alongside her, and obviously Ruby, who played my Betty, was just so fun to work off of, so funny, and really open to anything. So it always felt like every time we were rehearsing, we'd find something new in the scene and in the script. So that was really, really awesome. And Fringe was so fun to be a part of as well. It was such a busy time, and Fringe is so awesome to just see brand new up and coming works and hear from new creatives that are hitting the scene. So it was really awesome to be able to do that in 2023. It was a very timeless message from that show, I think. Lots of people left the show wondering, oh, you know, like, who's my Betty? Who's my best friend? Because the whole storyline of the piece was looking for that best friend, looking for that person that just gets you effortlessly and you want to do everything with and you want to tell everything to. And so many people after the show came up to me and was like, that actually got me thinking, like, who is my Betty, and have I found my Betty yet? Do I need to look for a Betty? And so that was really awesome. I think everyone could find a way to connect to that story, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's incredible that that's what theatre can do. It can create important conversations. It can get us as audiences thinking, and like that's one of the great things about theatre.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the many things that you had the honour of doing was performing at Carols by Candlelight.
Oh, yes! Yeah. This was such a random gig that honestly felt like it fell into my lap. For anyone who knows me, I'm obsessed with Christmas.
Yeah.
I am like Christmas's biggest fan, and I just every time Christmas comes around, I just want to have a hot chocolate in my hand, and it's like 35 degrees. Yeah, but I want to be inside under a blanket, and I want to be watching a Christmas movie that just warms my heart. I love it.
Do you have a favourite Christmas movie?
There's too many. Love Actually comes to mind. Also, like I want to say, like the Santa Claus, like the Tim Allen, like yeah, you guys get me. I feel seen right now. Thank you. There's those classics. Some of those or even like really weird like Christmas spin-offs, like the How to Train Your Dragon Christmas special, like so niche, but I really just but anything Christmas, I'm like, give it to me. I love it.
How did you get the opportunity to?
Yeah, so one of my singing students, she actually was telling me about this. It's really like a strange way of getting the gig. It's very like closed doors, like you have to like get it through word of mouth, and so she passed it along to me, and you can only audition to do it every 2 years, and so I threw my hat in the ring and ended up getting offered a first round offer, which was so awesome. And you go to a rehearsal space and you rehearse it about 3 or 4 times, and I'll literally never forget. I didn't know what to expect. You have to learn over like 20 different numbers, which is wild. I was like, oh my god, okay. And you get given all the sheet music, and so I'd gotten all the sheet music ready, and I looked over some of the songs. I went, yep, I know this. I assumed I was going to be the soprano group, which I was, and I was like, great, awesome. And on the first day, we meet the beautiful man who's running it. They call him Uncle Doug. Oh my god, it was like meeting a celebrity. I was like, oh my god, hi. And anyway, I was waiting for him to like start the rehearsal and do an opening and be like, hi guys, welcome. Didn't happen. He throws his hands up, and suddenly everyone stands up and starts singing the Hallelujah chorus. I can't even put into words how like out of my depth I felt. I was like, oh my god, and everyone stands up and I'm like, ah! I was like, yep, I'm on board, and it was just like being like flying by the seat of my pants. I was like, I don't even know what's happening, but I'm here for it, and it was the craziest experience. But yeah, getting to go and do the rehearsals at the Sydney Mime Music Bowl was just awesome, especially because like not long before I'd seen one of my favourite artists, Hosier, perform at that same venue, and I was like, I'm going to be right on that stage in a month. I was like so excited. So yeah, it was a really beautiful opportunity, and watching the behind the scenes of it all was so awesome. Like watching David Campbell like hosting and on the teleprompter, I was like, right, and that's what it looks like. Okay, and he reads like that. Oh, he's ad-libbing now. Oh my god, he's good. I was like, wow, this is really how it all happens behind the scenes, and it was super special. I mean, singing with some of the really awesome stars in Australia was just so awesome. Like Ben Abraham, I'm also a huge fan of, and he did a beautiful song with his family, and it was just so beautiful to watch, and everybody was so lovely, and you just meet people from all walks of life, and it was so special. I just went home and my heart was so full.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, how special is that?
Yeah.
And it was really awesome.
And you mentioned like big stars, like you also got to sing with like Marina Pryor,
Yes.
Sylvie Palladino,
Absolutely.
David Hobson, Dennis Walter,
Yes.
all these like legends.
Yeah, timeless legends. I was just so impressed. Everybody's professionalism was so awesome, and everyone was really welcoming and beautiful, and it was great.
Yeah, and what's it like on because I know they do a day before rehearsal or something, and it's like when they test the cameras out and
Yeah, I
everything?
think they test a lot of the transitioning and a lot of the staging, and it was great because I think there was a few people who hadn't performed there before, and so you could see them getting their jitters out and giving it a go, and it was just it was so cool. And like I said, like a lot of the cast of Sister Act were there, and some of the Jesus Christ Superstar performers and Dear Evan Hansen performers were there, and they were so lovely backstage, and on stage they were just, oh god, such amazing vocalists and performers, and they were just awesome.
It feels like every theatre kid's little dream,
Oh my
isn't
God.
it?
Yes.
Smashing the one.
Yeah.
I was on cloud 9. I was loving it. It was great.
And another show you did get to do was, I think it's called Deaf's Muse, is it? Like in 2024?
Yeah, which one's this?
This was with Lightbox Productions.
Yes, yep. So this was a cabaret that this one wasn't a planned performance. So it was this like song cycle cabaret that they were doing, a variety show, and I'd grown up doing a lot of shows with this company called Lightbox, and they were started by a bunch of year 12s when I was in year 9. a lot of those kids who went to my high school, they ended up developing this production company and put together this show. And it was a week out from performances, and they had a cast member drop out, and they gave me a call and they said, we have to call you straight away, can you swing in for this show? And I was like, yep. And they sent me all the material, and I was able to learn about 18 different pieces and learn choreography and do everything and put it all on with literally just days' notice. And oh my God, I don't know how swings do it. I don't know how they do it. My brain was working overtime, and thankfully it all went off without a hitch, but my goodness, it was crazy town.
Shout out to all the swings.
Shout out and covers, and it is crazy. And I remember like a few people would do it in uni, and even when we would have a double track in Into the Woods, like one night was Baker's Wife, the other night was a narrator. I, like, the cogs were turning then, and I was like, yep, and you've got to be on it for this night, because you've got to be here instead of there. But yeah, I think the last minute trying to drag everything together was, I honestly maybe impressed myself a little bit. I was like, wow, okay, I can do that. Because I think I hadn't had the opportunity to do a super intense swing role or an understudy or a cover, so I was like, this is my chance to show myself that I can pull it together in a couple of days and really give it a red hot go, and I did, and yeah, it was a ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that you're currently doing is you're currently working at Kids Pop Australia.
Yes.
Do you talk about what that's like and how it's great to be able to interact with kids and being able to just like showcase like performing or work at parties with them, teach them dance?
Absolutely, yeah. I think this was something that I never saw myself doing. It was always like when I thought about teaching, I was always like, oh, it's got to be high schoolers or it's got to be university level. Like, I'd love talking to adults and teaching adults and getting to connect like person to person in that way. And then this job fell into my lap as well, and I was like, oh, you know what, I'm going to give it a go. And my God, has it changed my outlook. I think it was a big like wake up call in regards to like rolling with the punches. Improv always freaks me out. I don't know whether people could tell it did, but it really did. And this job, you really have to roll with the punches. Like, you can turn around and a kid can ask you the most random question, like, do you have any babies? And you're like, hello, it's a Thursday morning. This is so random. Like, well, thank you so much. And you have to, be able to think really quick on your feet and keep the sparkle on the whole time. And it's been such a joy working with the little ones, like babies, toddlers, kinders. They just, oh my God, they can just make your day. They make my week. They're so awesome. And I'm at like nearly about like 10 different centres all over Melbourne, so I'm so lucky to work with so many little ones all the time, and they're so much fun, and they make me giggle, and I think they've almost brought back some of that like childlike wonder that we can easily lose growing up, and so it's been really awesome doing a job like that. Not to mention you get to dress up all fancy every week. It's with all the glitter and sparkles. It's honestly feels like you're working at Disneyland or something. It's so
and
cool.
I think that's one of the things I learned, because without bragging and flexing, I did go to Disneyland 10 years ago, and I think one of the many things that I learned from it, as well as seeing other Disney films, is like, no matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, you are always fit to be able to just be a kid. You'll still feel like a child. It's like, it's always great to be able to be in that environment and just playfully have a lot of imagination and just have fun.
Absolutely.
So I remember one of our lecturers, Jules, would say to us that our imagination is our greatest superpower.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. It's really so like special to know that you're creating these memories and moments for these kids, and even like being a part of like birthday parties here and there. I'm sure there's so many performers that have done like the birthday parties. I understand it. It's a hard slog, but it is really just so rewarding to know that like you walk away and I had like a parent message me about like a party I did, and she was like, Zoe was just so happy. She wouldn't stop talking about Miss Georgia all day. She said you were the best part of her party, and I was like, oh my God, that feeling is really, really special, knowing you've been so special to someone. And so that's been such a fun gig, and the team there are so fun and so great and so understanding of working in the arts as well. So yeah, it's been something really, really special.
Yeah, and you've also got to present a workshop with Stage Door Academy.
Yes.
What's it like for you, like, getting to share your knowledge and your wisdom, like with people who want to be a part of the arts?
Yeah, teaching workshops and teaching like privately has been just such an awesome avenue to go down. I think I remember how much workshops changed my life when I used to do in my later high school years. I used to do NIDA workshops, and they would be a gift I would get every Christmas, and I would look so forward to the next one. And like to this day, I have tools that I learned. Like I learned Laban in the last one I did when I was in Year 12, and so when it came to studying Laban at uni, I was like, I am locked and loaded. I was like, this is one of my favourite practitioners to talk about. And I was ready to go. So being able to pass on those really useful tips and some of that wisdom to younger performers has been so rewarding. It's even the case where I have performers auditioning for roles and then they're getting them and they're coming back and being like, I did that one thing you told me about, or I got out of my head in the audition room, or I tried this when I was doing a self-tape and it actually worked. And that's that feedback is really awesome to know that the things you're saying are making a big change to someone's performance journey or the way they think about performing in itself. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And what advice would you give to people who are interested in pursuing the arts, or like whether it's studying at school or they're from a different background where arts isn't a thing in their town, or that they really just want to do it professionally or just have fun with it?
It's gotta come from passion. Your passion is everything, because that's gonna be what drives you. Even in those days you don't feel like getting up and doing a self-tape, or you got an audition and you're really dreading it, that passion is going to be that one thing that never really fails you. I've always found that even when it comes back to, thinking about what avenues you want to go down, thinking about how you want to approach upcoming things, I think, passion's everything. And I think that's been something of mine that's been unwavering no matter what, is just even if I don't feel like being a part of something, I can still admire it to the end of my days, because that passion is really what has always driven me and always will, I think.
Yeah, and I think just a general broad question, why do you believe the arts are important?
Oh gosh, I think, how can they not be? I think even when we have a look at something, I'm putting my teacher hat on here, but even something as simple as learning a musical instrument while you're studying is scientifically proven to help your grades, your focus, your ability to create. And I think we are so quick to consume media and arts from America or from England or from wherever, and then think that feels so foreign to what we do. But in actual fact, all those creatives have started exactly where we are now, in that training phase, in that creating phase, in that beginning awkward phase, like, oh, does this show I've written, does it have legs, or is it going to do this, is it going to do that? But I think that it's always been so important, and it just always will be. I don't think the people around me could exist without the arts. I don't think I would have found the beautiful family around me that I have without the arts. And I think, I'm so grateful for the arts, and I'm so grateful I found it when I did, because I think it's made me who I am, and I think it's done the same for a lot of other people too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Georgia, thank you so much for taking your time to be here on this podcast. We absolutely appreciate it.
Thanks for coming. It was great to see you again.
Great to see you. I feel so special. Thanks, guys.
It's always inspiring to hear every one of our guest stories about their journey.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely amazing.
And thank you everyone for joining us for season 1
Thank
of
you so
Live on the
much.
Stage. We shall see you soon in August for season 2.
Stay tuned!